Chosen one. This moment was not random, and this message was not stumbled upon by chance. Heaven scheduled this encounter before you pressed play, and the timing you are in right now has been carefully orchestrated by God Himself. You are not behind, you are not late, and you are not overlooked. You are standing at a precise intersection of divine timing where instruction is being released and alignment is being restored. Chosen one. If you have felt restless about chasing jobs that drain your spirit, confused about paths that never seem to fit, or exhausted by systems that promise security but steal your peace, this word is for you. There is a shift happening in the unseen, and you are positioned at the edge of a supernatural breakthrough. What God is about to unfold in your life will not come through striving, begging, or forcing doors, but through obedience and alignment with His voice. As written in Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 3, the vision is for an appointed time, and that time is now pressing toward you. Anointed One, heaven is preparing sudden elevation, divine provision, and a transfer that cannot be explained by logic alone. This is a sacred interruption meant to awaken your faith and recalibrate your direction. Open your spirit, quiet the noise, and receive. What follows is not motivation. It is instruction from heaven. Chosen one. Let me speak to the place in you that has been exhausted, not in your body, but in your spirit. You know that feeling well, the heaviness that rises the moment someone mentions applying for another job or fitting yourself into another role that was never yours to begin with. It's not laziness and it's not avoidance. It's something deeper, something sacred, something your soul has been trying to tell you for years. Every time you tried to go along with what everyone else called normal, something inside you whispered that you didn't belong there. I know that whisper well because I lived years of my life ignoring it, trying to fit the blueprint the world handed me. But the exhaustion never came from effort. It came from misalignment. Chosen one. If you felt that same resistance rising inside you, you are not broken. You are being rerouted by God Himself. Every time you tried to walk into systems that promise stability, something shut down in your spirit because you were not sent here to be a worker of the world. You were sent here to be a carrier of divine assignment. The calling on your life has always been bigger than any job description, and heaven has been trying to pull you out of patterns that were too small for your soul. The world wants you predictable. Heaven wants you awakened. And when those two forces collide inside you, it produces that strange feeling, that spiritual discomfort, that divine dissonance, that sense that you were made for more, but can't quite explain why. I remember the season when I kept telling myself to push through, to be grateful, to just settle down and do what everyone else was doing. But every time I tried, something in me resisted. I felt drained by work that didn't reflect who I was and suffocated by environments that didn't honor who I was becoming. I thought something was wrong with me, but in truth, something was right with me. My spirit was rejecting what heaven did not authorize. The same thing is happening inside you. That inner resistance isn't rebellion, it's revelation. It's God placing a hand on your shoulder, whispering, "Not this, not here, not anymore." Anointed one. You've probably noticed that no matter how hard you've tried to follow the world's map, the degrees, the training, the applications, the interviews, something always breaks down. The door closes, the opportunity falls apart, the joy disappears. You're not cursed. You're being set apart. You're being protected from a path that would have dimmed your light. There is a blueprint over your life, but it is not the world's blueprint. It is heaven's. One where purpose creates provision. One where obedience brings overflow. One where your gift opens doors no resume ever could. I know what it feels like to think you're behind, to think others your age are thriving while you're still trying to figure out who you are. But let me tell you something, as someone who walked through that same valley, divine timing looks nothing like human timing. What feels like delay is often preparation. What looks like silence is often strategy. And chosen one, you have been prepared in hidden places, because what God is calling you into cannot be built on shallow foundations. You were not made to blend in. You were made to break patterns, to carry light into dark spaces, to shift atmospheres, simply by being who you truly are. You've always known you were different. You've always sensed that your life carried weight. That sense wasn't imagination. It was identity. It was the echo of your assignment, calling you back to yourself. Your gift has been speaking to you since childhood, but the world taught you to silence it, to be realistic, to follow the safe path. Yet every time you tried, your spirit revolted. It's because heaven placed something inside you that refuses to shrink. This is why you cannot settle. This is why normal drains you. This is why your soul aches when you ignore the thing you know you were meant to do. Your gift is not optional. It is your assignment, and it carries the key to the elevation waiting on the other side of your obedience. I've watched doors open that made no sense on paper, but made perfect sense in the spirit, the moment I stopped chasing what the world told me to want and started walking in what God whispered to my soul. That same shift is trying to happen in your life. You are not here to simply survive. You are here to awaken others by the way you live, by the way you speak, by the way you shine without apology. When you embrace your gift, heaven responds. When you use your gift, heaven funds what you build. When you honor your gift, heaven aligns everything around you. And chosen one, everything in your life is about to begin aligning the moment you stop forcing what was never meant for you and start stepping into what has been calling your name all along. Chosen one. There comes a moment in every anointed life when the soul can no longer pretend to be satisfied with what the world calls sufficient. You felt that moment rising inside you quietly at first, then louder, and now it's impossible to ignore. It shows up as a heaviness when you wake up for work, a discomfort when you try to picture yourself staying in the same place for years, a restlessness that tells you there is something more than the cycle of survival you've been taught to accept. That restlessness isn't confusion, it's calling. It's the spirit nudging you toward the path heaven wrote for you long before the world tried to train you into its system. I've lived through that same inner battle, and I remember the fear of disappointing people, the pressure to live a normal life, the guilt of wanting something different. But I also remember the freedom I felt the day I finally told myself the truth. I am not here to fit in. I am here to obey. Chosen. 1. God never designed your spirit to thrive in places that require you to shrink. That's why you feel yourself dimming in certain environments. It's why you feel drained around certain people. You're not too sensitive. Your discernment is too alive. Your spirit knows when a place isn't aligned with your assignment. And every time you try to force yourself into spaces that do not match your calling, heaven will interrupt the flow. Opportunities that look promising fall apart. Plans that should work refuse to progress. You may feel frustrated in those moments, but the truth is, you are being protected. Heaven loves you too much to let you anchor yourself where your purpose would die slowly. I can look back now and see how every closed door in my life was actually God pulling me out of misalignment. At the time, it felt like failure, but hindsight has revealed it as mercy. Anointed, 1. You were not created to chase jobs because your life was never meant to be defined by labor. It was meant to be defined by legacy. And legacy is birthed through calling, not employment. Jobs give tasks. Calling gives purpose. Jobs pay wages. Calling releases provision. Jobs require qualification. Calling requires obedience. Once you understand the difference, every part of your life begins to shift. Your priorities change, your decisions sharpen, your spirit awakens. Suddenly, you're not asking, "How can I make money?" anymore. You're asking, "What did God place inside me that will change lives, that shift alone is enough to break the world's programming off your identity?" I remember a season when I was working tirelessly, showing up every day, doing everything right, but feeling emptier with each passing week. It took me months to admit that the depth inside me was suffocating in shallow spaces. I would look around at people who seemed genuinely fulfilled in their roles and wonder what was wrong with me. But nothing was wrong with me. I just wasn't built for the same blueprint. That realization changed everything. And chosen one, I believe you are standing in that same realization right now. You may not have language for it yet, but your spirit knows. You've outgrown the small room you've been living in. Your gift needs more space. Your assignment needs oxygen. Your purpose needs a new environment where it can breathe. Chosen one, heaven is inviting you into a way of living that doesn't make sense to the natural mind. It's a life governed by alignment, guided by peace, and sustained by divine instruction. It's a life where your next step doesn't come from logic, but from listening, where your confidence doesn't come from a resume, but from revelation, where your identity is not shaped by what you do, but by who God designed you to be. This kind of life requires surrender, and surrender is not passive, it's active trust. It's the courage to say, even if I cannot see the next 5 steps, I will obey the one step God is showing me right now. And chosen one, that one step might be the very thing you've been resisting, the thing that feels too big, too unfamiliar, too risky, too sacred. But what feels risky to you often feels required to heaven. I need you to hear this clearly. You are not behind. You are being positioned. Every delay has refined you. Every setback has strengthened you. Every disappointment has redirected you. Divine timing is not slow. It is strategic. And right now, heaven is aligning things around you in ways you cannot yet see. Provision is being prepared. Opportunities are being shaped. People connected to your assignment are being moved into place. The shift has already started. Your spirit senses it. Your dreams echo it. Your atmosphere confirms it. All that's left is your yes, your willingness to step into the version of yourself that God always knew you would become. And when you do, the door that no earthly system could open will swing wide, because it was never meant to respond to your effort. It was meant to respond to your obedience. Chosen one. There is a moment in every spiritual journey when the old world begins to reject you because the new world is calling you. You've been feeling that pull, that strange tension between who you used to be and who you're becoming. It shows up in the smallest ways. The tasks that used to feel manageable now feel unbearable. The conversations you once entertained now feel empty. The places you tolerated now drain you the moment you step into them. This is not decline. This is transition. You are shedding the patterns that were tied to a version of you heaven is no longer endorsing. The discomfort you feel is the friction between the life you built through survival and the life God is building through purpose. That tension is sacred, even if it's painful. It means heaven is calling you upward. Anointed one, One of the most misunderstood parts of your journey is the way your spirit reacts to misalignment. While others can work jobs, they don't care about fill roles that don't match their soul or stay in positions that steal their light. You simply cannot. You can try, you have tried, but your spirit refuses to settle. You may have wondered why your tolerance for normal life feels weaker than other people's. But the truth is, your tolerance isn't weak. Your calling is strong. When your life carries a divine assignment, everything that doesn't support that assignment becomes spiritually suffocating. You weren't designed to survive in systems that were never built with your purpose in mind. You were crafted to walk in alignment, not conformity. I remember a season of my own life when I tried to silence my calling. I took jobs that looked promising positions. Others envied opportunities that should have made me proud, but instead they left me empty. Every time I started something that wasn't aligned with heaven's blueprint. For me, my spirit grew restless. It felt like trying to live underwater, technically possible for a moment, but your very nature fights against it. I didn't understand then that misalignment creates spiritual suffocation. I only knew something inside me felt wrong and chosen. 1. If you have felt that same quiet suffocation, let me tell you something with clarity and love. Nothing is wrong with you. You have simply outgrown what no longer matches your assignment. You see, when God has placed something powerful inside you, a job that limits your gift will eventually feel like a cage. A system that requires you to dim your intuition will start to feel spiritually toxic. A role that asks you to hide your voice will begin to feel like warfare. This isn't sensitivity, it's spiritual intelligence waking up inside you. It's the knowing that your life is supposed to mean more than routines and paychecks. It's the call of destiny reminding you that your purpose cannot be boxed, packaged, or managed by people who don't see your worth. And because of this, heaven will keep redirecting you until you step into the place where your spirit can finally breathe freely. Chosen. 1. Divine redirection often looks like earthly rejection. You pray for guidance, and instead of clarity, a door closes. You ask for stability, and instead of comfort, the job ends. You seek peace, and instead of rest, everything familiar starts falling apart. But listen closely, these are not punishments, they are interventions. God is removing what was delaying your assignment. Every closed door is heaven's way of saying, not this. You deserve better. You were called to more. The world may interpret it as failure, but the Spirit understands it as protection. There is a blueprint over your life that requires space for your gift space, for your spirit space, for your calling to unfold. And anything that restricts that space cannot stay. Anointed One, you are entering a season where your life will begin to align in ways you've never seen before. But alignment requires honesty. You must look at the parts of your life that no longer resonate and admit they cannot go with you. This is not abandonment, it is evolution. It is the shedding of old identities that were shaped by survival, fear, and expectations. You are being refined into someone who can carry influence, authority, and spiritual clarity without breaking under the weight. The pruning may feel personal, but it is purposeful. God is not just redirecting your steps, He is reshaping your identity. And I want you to remember something that took me years to understand. When heaven calls you to rise, comfort becomes the enemy. You cannot cling to what is familiar and expect to access what is divine. The next level of your calling requires a new level of trust, a deeper surrender, and a willingness to walk into spaces that don't come with instructions, but come with God's presence. You may not feel ready, but readiness is not a requirement for obedience. Availability is. And you, chosen one, are being called to become available to the life that has been waiting for you, the life where your gift leads, your spirit guides, and your purpose provides. This shift you are experiencing is not random. It is the unfolding of your assignment. And everything in your life, the restlessness, the transition, the discomfort, the closed doors, is heaven's way of preparing you to step into the space where you finally become who you were always meant to be. Chosen one. There comes a point in your spiritual awakening when you begin to realize that the very things you thought were falling apart were actually falling into place. What looked like chaos was choreography. What felt like loss was positioning. What seemed like the end was, in truth, the unraveling of everything that could no longer hold who you are becoming. And right now, heaven is allowing certain parts of your life to loosen their grip because they were built for the version of you that no longer exists. This isn't destruction, it's divine editing. It's the careful, intentional removal of anything that would interfere with the next dimension of your assignment. Anointed one, you've probably been sensing this shift in very personal ways. Conversations that used to energize you now feel empty. Commitments that once felt natural now feel heavy. Relationships that once made sense suddenly feel misaligned. And you may be wondering why everything familiar feels foreign now. It's because your spirit is outgrowing environments that can no longer sustain your elevation. When God is preparing to entrust you with more, He first begins to pull you away from anything that keeps you small. Elevation always requires separation, not isolation, but refinement. The people, places, and patterns that were attached to your old identity cannot follow you into your new assignment. Some were seasonal, some were lessons, some were comfort zones that would have become prisons had you stayed too long. And when heaven begins to reveal that truth, everything around you starts to shift. I remember walking through a season just like this, a season where my life looked stable on the outside but felt fragile on the inside. I would wake up with a sense that God was calling me deeper, but everything around me felt shallow. I felt myself being detached from old circles and old ways of thinking. At first, I resisted it. I tried to hold on to what was familiar because it felt safe. But the more I tried to stay where I no longer belonged, the heavier everything became. That heaviness was never punishment. It was preparation. It was heaven telling me you can't carry all of this into your next season. And chosen one, the same is happening for you. The discomfort you feel is not a sign that you're losing your way. It's a sign that God is clearing your path. You see, alignment is not always gentle. Sometimes it feels like life is stripping you down to nothing, but in truth, it is stripping away only what was never meant to be part of your destiny. When God calls you higher, He doesn't elevate your circumstances first, He elevates your spirit. And an elevated spirit cannot remain in environments built for survival when it was created for purpose. This is why certain opportunities no longer excite you. This is why certain goals feel outdated. This is why the things you used to chase now feel meaningless. It's not burnout, it's breakthrough. It's the moment you stop wanting what the world told you to want and start craving what heaven designed you to carry. Chosen one. You are not being emptied, you are being readied. The confusion you felt isn't a lack of direction. It's the dissolving of an old identity. You're learning to differentiate between what your flesh desired and what your spirit has been longing for. And as this awareness grows, so does the clarity of your calling. You're beginning to see glimpses of the life God intended for you, a life where your gift isn't a side note, but the centerpiece where your voice carries weight. where your presence shifts atmospheres, where your obedience opens doors you couldn't force, even if you tried. This is why the jobs you once tolerated now feel unbearable. This is why routines that once anchored you now suffocate you. This is why mediocrity feels more painful than failure. Your spirit knows you were not designed for a life of mere tasks and paychecks. You were designed for impact, influence, and divine stewardship. You were anointed to carry revelation, to speak truth, to build things that carry God's presence into places that desperately need it. And heaven will not allow you to settle for anything less, no matter how familiar or comfortable it might be. Anointed One, you are experiencing the early stages of spiritual transformation, a transformation that demands release before it grants increase. And release requires trust. It requires letting go of the idea that you must understand everything before you obey. It requires surrendering the belief that your safety comes from predictability. God does not call you into the unknown to abandon you. He calls you into the unknown to reveal himself in ways you've never experienced. You are being led into a season where provision will follow obedience, where clarity will flow from stillness, where strength will rise from surrender. And as you yield to this process, you will begin to notice something remarkable. Your spirit will grow stronger, even while your old structures fall away. You will feel more alive in the quiet than you ever did in the noise. You will sense divine activity in the pauses where the world assumes nothing is happening. Because Chosen One Heaven does its greatest work in hidden seasons, the same kind of season you are walking through right now. Chosen One. There comes a time when God begins to illuminate the difference between work that drains you and work that awakens you, and you're living in that very moment right now. The reason your spirit reacts so intensely to certain environments, tasks, or expectations is because heaven is exposing everything that was built on survival instead of assignment. You are beginning to recognize that the life you were trained to pursue is not the life you were anointed to live. And even though this realization can shake you, it is actually the beginning of your freedom. You're not losing direction. You're losing the old programming that once convinced you that your worth was tied to labor, productivity, and performance. Now, your soul is craving alignment, purpose, and divine flow, the things it was designed to crave from the very beginning. Anointed One. I know how overwhelming this transformation can feel. There was a season in my life when I felt like everything familiar was slipping through my fingers. I tried to hold on to stability, to routine, to the idea that a normal path would protect me from uncertainty. But every time I tried to tighten my grip, something inside me felt more and more out of place. It wasn't until I stopped fighting the pull of my spirit that I understood what was happening. God wasn't taking things away from me. He was taking me out of things that were too small for my calling, and that realization changed everything. Suddenly, the discomfort made sense. The restlessness became revelation. I wasn't failing. I was being repositioned. Chosen One. You are being repositioned right now. God is pulling you out of cycles that were created to keep you busy but not awakened. He is removing you from environments that reward exhaustion but ignore purpose. He is disrupting your comfort so that you can recognize the cage you once called safety. The truth is, you have been living beneath your spiritual capacity for a long time, and heaven is no longer allowing you to shrink to fit spaces that cannot hold your assignment. That is why, no matter how hard you try to go back to the old way of doing things, something stops you. That is why the jobs you once tolerated now feel unbearable. That is why the idea of settling feels more painful than uncertainty. Your spirit is sounding the alarm you were meant for more. You see, when God breathes a calling into your life, He also places a divine dissatisfaction inside you that refuses to let you settle for anything less. That dissatisfaction is not your enemy, it is your compass. It points you toward the places where your gift is meant to flourish. It shows you the spaces where your voice carries weight. It reveals the assignments that need your presence, and it exposes the environments where your light would be wasted. This is why you've always felt out of place in jobs that only valued your labor, but never valued your calling. This is why you struggled in structures that prioritized rules over revelation. This is why certain responsibilities felt like chains instead of opportunities. You were never meant to survive there. You were meant to awaken there and eventually outgrow it. Anointed One. I want you to reflect on something deeply. Every time you tried to align yourself with the world's expectations, a part of you shut down. And every time you followed a whisper from God, even a small one, a part of you came alive. That alone should tell you where your path lies. You were created to thrive, where your spirit has room to breathe, where your gift can flow freely, where your presence brings transformation. You were crafted for divine assignments, not worldly obligations. When you operate in obedience, you tap into a supernatural economy where provision follows purpose rather than pressure. When you honor your gift, heaven honors your steps. And when you refuse to betray your calling, God refuses to let you walk alone. You are stepping into a season where your inner clarity will begin to overpower your external fears. Your spirit is learning to trust God more than it trusts the familiar. And that trust will become the foundation of your next elevation. Every part of your journey so far, the restlessness, the misalignment, the closed doors, the internal battles has been preparing you for the moment when you finally step into the identity heaven has been calling you into. You are not late. You are not behind. You are right on time for the purpose that has been waiting for your obedience. Chosen One, breathe this truth in. You do not need a job to be validated. You do not need titles to be significant. You do not need external approval to walk in internal authority. What God placed inside you carries eternal value. The world may overlook it, but heaven magnifies it. And soon those who dismissed you will witness the fruit of the calling you refuse to abandon. Your gift is not small. Your purpose is not accidental. Your season is not delayed. Everything in your life is shifting toward alignment, even if you can't see it yet. Heaven is orchestrating the path. All you must do is continue walking with the courage to trust what your spirit already knows to be true. Chosen One, as you move deeper into this season of awakening, you are beginning to notice something profound. Your spirit is becoming louder than your fear. The voice inside you that once whispered is now speaking with authority, reminding you that you were never created to live a life controlled by survival, exhaustion, or obligation. You were created to move with purpose, intention, and spiritual precision. And when your inner voice begins to rise like this, it is a sign that heaven is drawing you into a higher dimension of your calling. This is not imagination. This is not coincidence. This is spiritual alignment unfolding inside you, revealing who you truly are beneath all the layers life tried to place on top of your identity. Anointed One. One of the greatest confirmations that you are stepping into divine purpose is the way your sensitivity begins to sharpen. You start to discern energy you once ignored. You feel the weight of conversations that no longer match your spirit. You become aware of atmospheres that drain your peace. You start recognizing when your soul contracts and when it expands. That internal awareness is not random, it is God training your spirit. He is teaching you how to navigate life, not by logic alone, but by discernment, intuition, and spiritual insight. And this training is essential because the next season of your assignment will require you to distinguish between opportunities designed by God and distractions disguised as opportunities. I remember a time in my life when I felt stuck in cycles that looked good on the outside but felt wrong on the inside. I told myself I was being ungrateful, overly emotional, or too picky. But deep down, I knew something was off. I would walk into certain spaces and feel my energy sink. I would speak to certain people and feel my spirit shrink. And for a long time, I blamed myself. But eventually, God revealed something to me that changed everything. My sensitivity was not a flaw. It was a gift. It was my spirit warning me that not everything that appears stable is aligned, and not everything that appears promising is divine. The more I learned to trust that inner knowing, the more my life began to align with purpose instead of pressure. Chosen one. Heaven is inviting you into that same trust. You can no longer depend on external validation to make decisions. You can no longer allow fear to dictate your path. You can no longer let the expectations of others drown out the voice of God inside you. You are entering a season where you must make choices based on obedience, not optics. Choices based on peace, not popularity. Choices based on spiritual alignment, not social approval. And this shift will feel uncomfortable at first because your old self was trained to prioritize safety, stability, and predictability. But your new self, the self God is awakening, understands that true safety is found in surrender, true stability is found in alignment, and true predictability is found in trusting the one who wrote your destiny before you were even formed. This is why certain connections are falling away. It is why some people no longer feel close to you. It is why conversations that once made sense now feel shallow. Your spirit is elevating, and elevation naturally separates you from anything that can't rise with you. Not because they are bad people, but because they are tied to a chapter that God is closing. You can honor the past without returning to it. You can love people without limiting yourself to their level. You can release what is familiar without losing what is essential. And the moment you embrace that truth, your path becomes clearer, your calling becomes louder, and your identity begins to unfold with clarity. Anointed One. You've probably felt like you're walking between two worlds, the world you're leaving and the world you're entering. This in-between space is sacred. It is where God strengthens your discernment. It is where He quiets your distractions. It is where He reveals the parts of you that were buried under years of expectation, responsibility, and self-doubt. You may feel isolated in this place, but isolation is often God's way of creating intimacy with you. He removes the noise so you can hear what you were too busy to notice before. He slows your pace so that your spirit can catch up to your destiny. He clears your environment so that your discernment can sharpen without interference. And as you sit in the sacred, in between something powerful is happening, you are rediscovering yourself. You are remembering your dreams. You are reconnecting with your gift. You are reigniting the fire you dimmed to keep others comfortable. You are reclaiming the identity you abandoned for acceptance. You are awakening to the truth that your life carries a weight that cannot be ignored or underestimated. And this rediscovery is not random, it is preparation. God is shaping you into someone who can walk boldly into assignments that once intimidated you. He is building resilience in you. He is building clarity in you. He is building spiritual authority in you that no earthly system can take away. Chosen one. Everything you are experiencing, the clarity, the confusion, the elevation, the release, is part of your divine unfolding. You are being positioned, refined, and awakened for a life you have only glimpsed in your spirit. Trust this process. Trust what you feel. Trust the God who is guiding you. Your spirit is rising, and nothing can stop the transformation that has already begun within you. Chosen one. As you move further into this divine transition, you may notice that your spirit is becoming increasingly selective about what it allows into your life. Things you once tolerated now feel heavy. Places you once settled into now feel foreign. Even the ambitions you once chased may no longer stir anything inside you. This isn't because you're directionless, it's because heaven is stripping away every desire that was never truly yours. You are being purified from the inside out, not through punishment, but through purpose. God is teaching you to separate what your flesh wanted from what your spirit was created to carry. And this separation is sacred, even when it feels uncomfortable, because it marks the birth of a new identity, the identity heaven always intended for you. Anointed One. One of the most profound signs that God is elevating you is when He begins to disconnect you from the things that once defined you. You may notice that your old motivations no longer have power over you. The need for approval no longer dictates your decisions. The fear of disappointing others no longer chains your voice. This is spiritual maturity expanding inside you. You're no longer driven by anxiety or urgency. You're being drawn by alignment, guided by peace, and sustained by revelation. And the deeper you go into this process, the more you realize that obedience is not about sacrifice, it's about freedom. It's about stepping into the flow, where your assignment becomes clearer than your fear. I remember walking through this same kind of shift. There was a time when I believed the world's pace was the standard I needed to meet. I believed productivity made me valuable, that busyness proved my worth, that constant motion meant progress. But over time I realized I was moving fast but going nowhere spiritually. My soul felt starved while my schedule stayed full. I was achieving, but I wasn't aligned. And alignment always costs you something, usually the illusion of control. When I finally surrendered that illusion, everything changed. I discovered that surrender isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It's the moment when you stop forcing outcomes and start flowing with purpose. It's the moment when you stop chasing jobs and start cultivating your gift. Chosen one, that same shift is unfolding inside you. You might not fully understand it yet, but you can feel it. You feel yourself drawn toward something deeper, something more authentic, something more spiritually rooted than anything you've known before. You're realizing that the call on your life is not about activity, it's about assignment. It's not about doing more, it's about becoming more. And the more you become, the less you need to force anything. This is why your spirit no longer allows you to engage in things that dilute your purpose. You are being calibrated to a new frequency, a divine frequency that requires silence, sensitivity, and spiritual attentiveness. Anointed One. You may also feel moments of grief as you release old versions of yourself. That grief is normal. You're not mourning failure, you're mourning familiarity. You're letting go of identities you outgrew, expectations you no longer carry, and stories you no longer need to live inside. And as you release these old layers, you create space for God to give you new ones, new clarity, new vision, new strength. Don't rush this process. Transformation is not meant to be hurried. It is meant to be honored. God is not just preparing your circumstances, He is preparing your capacity. He is strengthening you for the elevation He has already written into your timeline. And as this transformation deepens, something else begins to happen. Your spirit becomes more attracted to truth and comfort. You start choosing healing over hiding. You start choosing authenticity over approval. You start choosing alignment over acceptance. You start choosing purpose over predictability. This is what it looks like when your anointing becomes active. Your discernment sharpens. Your intuition strengthens. Your connection to God deepens. You begin to navigate life from a place of spiritual authority rather than emotional reaction. You begin to understand that your life is not random, it is orchestrated, chosen. You are stepping into a season where God is teaching you how to operate not from exhaustion, but from overflow, not from pressure, but from presence, not from fear, but from faith. And the more you learn to recognize the difference, the more unstoppable your spirit becomes. This is the rise of the chosen, not in arrogance, but in awareness, not in noise, but in knowing, not in striving, but in surrender. Heaven is calling you to walk with a level of clarity and confidence you have never known before. And as you continue to embrace this journey, you will begin to see that everything God is doing within you is preparing you for the divine assignment waiting ahead. Chosen one. As you step further into this divine unfolding, you may feel a strange mix of peace and pressure swirling inside you. Peace, because your spirit knows you are finally moving in the right direction. Pressure, because everything in your old life is demanding that you stay the same. This tension is not a sign of misalignment. It is proof that you are transitioning from who you were into who you were always meant to become. Transformation is never silent. It shakes foundations, exposes old patterns, and reveals the spiritual fractures you once ignored. But you are not breaking down, you are breaking open. And what is emerging from within you is the version of yourself heaven has been waiting to reveal. Anointed one, as God elevates you, He will begin to highlight every place where you have accepted limitation, not to shame you, but to free you. You may notice old thoughts resurfacing, thoughts that tell you you're not ready, you're not capable, you're not enough. These thoughts are echoes from a past identity that no longer has power over your destiny. You have outgrown those beliefs. They might still whisper, but they no longer define you. God is renewing your mind, reshaping your self-perception, and reintroducing you to the truth of who you've always been, beneath the weight of expectations and conditioning. The more you awaken, the more you realize that your limitations were never spiritual, they were psychological. But heaven is dismantling them one by one. I remember sitting in a moment, just like the one you're in now, a moment where everything external looked stable, yet everything within me was shifting at a speed I couldn't explain. I felt God pulling me into a level of purpose I wasn't sure I could handle. My mind was terrified, but my spirit was calm. It was like standing in two worlds at once. I kept waiting to feel ready, not realizing that readiness is often revealed only after obedience. But the moment I stepped out in faith, something inside me aligned. Suddenly, the clarity came, the confidence came, the provision came. It didn't come before I moved, it came because I moved. And chosen one, that same pattern is unfolding for you. Heaven is waiting for your yes before it releases what belongs to you. You see, divine assignments rarely begin with certainty. They begin with willingness. They begin with a trembling voice, a hesitant step, a quiet decision to trust God more than your fear. You were not chosen because you were fearless. You were chosen because your spirit responds to God even when fear is present. And obedience in the presence of fear is one of the highest forms of worship. It tells heaven that you trust its plan more than your own logic. It tells God that you are ready to walk by faith, not by sight. And when you step into obedience, even before understanding everything, you activate a divine flow that no earthly system can reproduce. Anointed One, your spirit has been sensing this shift long before your mind could articulate it. You feel a pull towards something bigger, something deeper, something that carries meaning beyond the superficial. You may not know what the next chapter looks like, but you can feel its weight. That weight is not heaviness, it is glory. It is the magnitude of your calling making itself known. It is the spiritual significance of your life rising to the surface. You were never meant to live small. You were never meant to simply follow the world's script. Your destiny requires you to break cycles, disrupt patterns, and challenge what others accept without question. And that calling requires courage. This is why God is teaching you to listen to your inner voice, not the voice shaped by fear, but the voice shaped by truth. You're learning to recognize God's fingerprints in unexpected places. You're learning to pay attention to the instruction hidden beneath discomfort. You're learning that when your peace disappears, something is misaligned, and when your peace expands, heaven is signaling your next step. These internal cues are spiritual tools, and God is sharpening them within you so that when the world grows louder, you can still hear the whisper of the divine guiding your path. Chosen One, you are also being stretched in ways you have never been stretched before. Not because God wants you overwhelmed, but because He is increasing your capacity. You cannot carry a greater assignment with a smaller mindset. You cannot step into abundance with a spirit still shaped by scarcity. You cannot walk into purpose with habits built for survival. The stretching is uncomfortable, yes, but it is holy. It is necessary. Every spiritual muscle in you is being strengthened for what comes next. And through all of this, something beautiful is happening inside you. You are beginning to trust yourself again. You are beginning to believe in the wisdom God placed within you. You are beginning to reclaim the parts of you that were silenced, suppressed, or overlooked. You are beginning to rise into spiritual maturity, and that maturity is opening doors no amount of striving ever could. Chosen One. Nothing about this season is accidental. You are being transformed, elevated, and prepared for a dimension of purpose that requires every ounce of obedience, clarity, and surrender you have cultivated so far. Trust this. Lean into it. Let your spirit lead you. Heaven is not just guiding you, it is unveiling you. Chosen One. As you move deeper into this sacred transition, you may find yourself standing at a crossroads where nothing in your outer life fully reflects the magnitude of what's happening within you. It's an unusual place, a place where your spirit feels expanded, but your circumstances still look unchanged, a place where you feel called higher, yet you can't fully articulate what higher even means yet. This in-between space can feel disorienting, but it is one of the most divinely orchestrated stages of your journey. It's where God teaches you to hear Him more clearly, trust Him more deeply, and release everything that once anchored you to a life that was too small for your calling. You are not stuck. You are being stabilized. You are not lost. You are being recalibrated. Anointed One. It's important to understand that before God elevates you publicly, He always strengthens you privately. That strengthening often looks like silence, like waiting, like stillness that stretches longer than your comfort prefers. But this stillness is strategic. It's in this quiet place that God reveals the truth about who you are, not who you've been pretending to be, not who others expected you to be, but the version of you He designed with purpose and intention before you were even born. You may feel hidden right now, but hiddenness is not punishment. It is protection. It is the space where God heals what the world wounded, restores what life depleted, and rewrites the parts of your identity that were shaped by fear instead of faith. I remember a season like this in my own journey, a season where I felt simultaneously called and unqualified, awakened yet unsure, ready yet hesitant. I kept asking God, why do I feel so much movement inside while so little is shifting outside? And over time, He made something clear: elevation begins internally before it manifests externally. God had to prepare my mindset before He could change my environment. He had to expand my spirit before He could expand my territory. He had to break my attachment to the familiar before He could introduce me to the extraordinary. That preparation felt frustrating in the moment, but now I can see that it was one of the most loving things God ever did. And, chosen one, He is doing the same for you. As your spirit awakens, the world around you may begin to feel strangely distant. Things that once motivated you now leave you unmoved. People you once relied on may no longer feel aligned with your path. Even your old dreams may feel too small for the person you are becoming. This is not depression. This is divine evolution. Your spirit is shedding the layers that were never truly yours. You are being disconnected from anything that does not resonate with your future. You are being guided into a life that requires your full authenticity, your full obedience, your full anointing. Every part of you that was shaped by fear, by survival, by conformity, is being dismantled so that the version of you shaped by truth, purpose, and power can fully emerge. Anointed One. You may also find yourself feeling more emotional or more sensitive during this time. Don't fight it. Sensitivity is not weakness. It is spiritual intelligence. It is your spirit becoming more attuned to God's frequency. You are learning to sense misalignment faster. You are learning to recognize God's peace more clearly. You are learning to feel when something is not for you, even if it looks good on the outside. This heightened sensitivity is a gift, a tool, a compass. It will guide you into assignments that match your soul and away from opportunities that would have derailed your purpose. One of the most powerful parts of this transformation is the way your desires begin to shift. You start wanting less of what the world told you to chase, and more of what your spirit has been whispering all along. You crave meaning over money. You crave alignment over applause. You crave impact over image. And perhaps most importantly, you crave God's voice over the noise of everyone else's expectations. This is the true beginning of spiritual maturity, when your inner compass becomes more trustworthy than external pressure. Chosen One. The reason you feel stretched right now is because God is enlarging your capacity. He is preparing you to carry influence without insecurity, purpose, without panic, abundance, without attachment, and authority without arrogance. He is preparing you to lead, to heal, to speak, to build, to create from a place of spiritual overflow rather than exhaustion. Your calling requires a stronger foundation, and that foundation is being laid right now, even if the process feels slow, subtle, or invisible. You are being shaped into someone who can walk boldly in assignments that once intimidated you. someone who can discern spiritual truth in environments clouded by confusion, someone who can stand firm in identity even when the world tries to pull you back into old patterns, someone who no longer needs permission to become who God called them to be. The power rising in you is real. The clarity forming in you is real. The transformation unfolding in you is real. And chosen one, you are closer than you think. This season is not a delay, it is a divine alignment. Everything you are sensing, everything you are releasing, everything you are learning is preparing you for the breakthrough that has already been written in your destiny. Heaven has not forgotten you. Heaven has been forming you. Chosen one. As you walk further into this season of divine restructuring, you may feel as though your entire inner world is being rewired. The thoughts you used to rely on no longer feel trustworthy. The plans you once held tightly now feel too small. Even your understanding of who you are is shifting in ways you didn't anticipate. This isn't instability, it is spiritual recalibration. God is not dismantling you. He's dismantling everything that was built on insecurity, fear, and survival. He's stripping away the layers that kept you bound so he can reveal the version of you that was crafted in his intention, not in the world's expectations. This kind of transformation is intense because it touches deep places, the places you've protected, ignored, or learned to hide. But the deep places are where destiny begins. Anointed one, when God prepares someone for an assignment that carries weight, he first begins to cleanse their inner landscape. Old thought patterns rise to the surface so they can be uprooted. Old wounds return to be healed properly, not suppressed. Old narratives you've carried about who you are begin to crumble. You may feel exposed or vulnerable, but vulnerability in this season is a sign that your spirit is softening, becoming more receptive, more open, more aligned. God cannot pour new oil into a hardened vessel. So, he softens you so the new oil can come. I remember a similar season in my life, one where I felt like everything inside me was being gently undone. Things I thought I had already healed resurfaced. Fears I thought I had conquered whispered again. But now I understand God wasn't exposing me to break me. He was exposing me to rebuild me. You may feel that same rebuilding happening within you. It shows up in your sensitivity, the way you feel. Spiritual shifts before they manifest physically. It shows up in your intuition, the way you sense misalignment in moments where you once ignored warning signs. It shows up in your convictions, the way your spirit refuses to let you return to old patterns that once felt comfortable. This spiritual sensitivity is not something everyone carries. It is an indication of the prophetic weight on your life. You were chosen not merely to live, but to discern, to perceive, to sense heaven's movement, even when others see only confusion. Your inner awareness is one of your greatest tools, and God is sharpening it in this season. Chosen. One another shift you may be noticing is the way your appetite for the superficial is fading. You are no longer energized by shallow conversations, temporary distractions, or environments that lack depth. Your spirit is hungry for truth, for alignment, for purpose. This hunger is divine. It is God pulling you towards spaces where your gift is needed, toward people who can speak to your spirit rather than just your situation, toward environments where you can grow rather than shrink. You may feel lonely in this transition, but it is not because you are alone. It is because God is distancing you from noise so you can hear Him clearly. Elevation often begins with separation. Not separation out of rejection, but separation for refinement. As you continue to evolve, you may notice that your identity is becoming clearer. The parts of you that were once blurry are coming into focus. The dreams you buried are resurfacing. The gifts you hid are calling out to be used. You are remembering pieces of yourself that got lost in the chaos of life. You are reconnecting with the version of you that existed before fear, before trauma, before disappointment. This reconnection is not nostalgia, it is restoration. God is restoring you to the person you were always meant to be, and as that restoration unfolds, your confidence begins to grow. Not the confidence shaped by accomplishments, but the confidence shaped by alignment. Anointed One, this is also a season of discernment regarding the voices around you. Not everyone who speaks to you speaks from God. Some speak from fear, some from limitation, some from their own unresolved pain. And as your spirit grows stronger, you will begin to hear the difference. You will feel when a voice disrupts your peace rather than deepens your clarity. You will sense when advice is rooted in worry rather than wisdom. You will discern when someone's presence drains your energy rather than strengthens your purpose. This awareness is a sign that God is teaching you how to guard your spirit. Your spirit is precious. Your assignment is sacred. Not everyone can speak into it. But perhaps the greatest shift happening within you right now is the awakening of your purpose. You can feel it, the tug, the fire, the quiet conviction that you are meant to do something bigger than what you've been doing. Your soul knows it. Your dreams know it. Even your discomfort knows it. Purpose does not whisper softly. It thunders, it interrupts, it disrupts, and it refuses to let you settle into a life beneath your calling. You are not imagining this pull toward something greater. It is heaven's summons, a divine announcement that the time for hiding, shrinking, and stalling is over. Chosen One. God is preparing you for a season where your gift will lead you, your spirit will guide you, and your obedience will elevate you. You are stepping into a dimension of clarity that will change everything about how you move, how you speak, how you make decisions, and how you see yourself. You are being shaped into someone who can carry divine assignments with grace and authority. The world has no idea who you are becoming, but heaven does. And soon you will too. Chosen One. As you step further into this holy unfolding, you may feel as though your entire life has become one long conversation between you and God, a dialogue happening beneath your thoughts, beneath your emotions, beneath the surface of your day-to-day existence. You sense Him in moments you once would have overlooked. You feel His nudges in ways that are subtle yet unmistakable. You are not imagining this. You are being trained to live from the Spirit, not the surface. This kind of spiritual awareness doesn't arrive all at once. It rises within you like dawn, gently, steadily illuminating parts of your soul you didn't even realize were dimmed. And with every new wave of clarity, something in you grows stronger, bolder, quieter, in all the right ways. Anointed One. One of the clearest signs that you are stepping into a higher dimension of purpose is the shift in how you handle uncertainty. Where you once panicked, you now pause. Where you once doubted, you now discern. Where you once felt abandoned, you now feel guided. This shift is not because life has suddenly become easy. It's because you are becoming anchored. God is building spiritual weight in you. You are learning to trust the unseen, to move by revelation rather than routine, to listen more than you strive. This is maturity. This is elevation, and it often happens quietly, without applause, without validation, without recognition. Heaven celebrates what earth cannot yet see. I remember a similar season when I felt like the floor beneath my old life was dissolving, but instead of collapsing, I found myself standing on something deeper, a foundation I didn't even know was there. It wasn't confidence in my ability, it wasn't certainty in my plans. It was trust, raw, unexplainable trust. Trust that God knew where He was taking me. Trust that I didn't need to know the whole path to take the next step. Trust that obedience would reveal more than overthinking ever could. That trust didn't appear overnight. It was built through moments where I had nothing else to hold on to. And, chosen one, the same thing is happening in you. Trust is becoming your anchor. This trust is changing more than just your decisions. It's changing your identity. You're beginning to realize that you are not the person life tried to convince you that you were. You are not fragile. You are not confused. You are not behind. You are chosen, and chosen people move differently. They sense things before they see them. They walk away from things before they fully understand why. They let go when God whispers, even if the world screams that they're making a mistake. They respond to spiritual cues others cannot hear. And this is exactly what is happening within you. The more you evolve spiritually, the more your life begins to reflect the truth of your calling, rather than the pressure of your circumstances. Chosen one. You've probably noticed that God has been interrupting your patterns. The conversations that once drained you now feel intolerable. The environments that once satisfied you now feel restricting. The roles you once played now feel too small for the fire growing inside you. This is not moodiness. This is not inconsistency. This is spiritual liberation. You are being released from emotional agreements that were never aligned with your purpose. You are being freed from narratives that kept you limited. You are being pulled away from anything that distracts your spirit from hearing God clearly. Liberation often begins with discomfort, and discomfort is heaven's way of signaling that something greater is calling you. Another powerful shift happening in this season is the way you are learning to honor your own voice. For years you may have silenced yourself to keep peace, to maintain roles, to carry others. But your spirit is no longer allowing you to betray your truth. You're beginning to speak from conviction, not from fear. You're beginning to choose honesty over obligation. You're beginning to value inner alignment more than external approval. And this shift is essential because your assignment will require your authentic voice. You cannot impact the world while muting yourself. You cannot carry revelation while playing small. You cannot be who God called you to be while pretending to be someone the world prefers. Anointed one. God is also expanding your vision. You are beginning to dream again, not the shallow dreams shaped by societal expectations, but the deep dreams written into your DNA. Dreams that stir your spirit. Dreams that make your heart burn. Dreams that refuse to leave you alone. These dreams are not fantasies, they are previews. They are glimpses of the future God is calling you toward. Pay attention to them, lean into them. They are not random, they are prophetic. They are God waking up the parts of you that were once buried under disappointment, fear, and survival. As this awakening continues, you will notice that your spirit is craving more intentionality. You want to protect your peace. You want to guard your atmosphere. You want to surround yourself with people who speak life, not limitation. This is maturity, spiritual maturity. It is the realization that your environment is a seedbed for your destiny. You cannot grow in soil that suffocates you. You cannot flourish in spaces that dishonor who you are becoming. And God is giving you the courage to make choices that support your elevation rather than sabotage it. Chosen one. Everything happening inside you right now is divinely timed. You are shedding what no longer resonates. You are rising into spiritual awareness. You are learning to live led rather than live lost. You are being positioned for breakthroughs your old identity could not have handled. This is not coincidence, it is calling, it is alignment, it is destiny unfolding. Chosen one. As you arrive at this final stretch of your inner transformation, you may feel something rising within you that you cannot fully explain, a quiet certainty, a sacred strength, a sense that you're stepping into a chapter that has been waiting for you since the beginning. It is not loud, yet it is undeniable. It is not dramatic, yet it is powerful. It is the steady awareness that you're no longer who you were before this journey began. Something in you has awakened. Something in you has matured. Something in you is ready now, ready in a way that your past self could not have imagined. And this readiness is not rooted in confidence alone, but in alignment. It is rooted in the realization that God has been shaping you, teaching you, pruning you, and preparing you for a purpose that is finally ready to unfold. Anointed One. The internal shifts you've experienced throughout this process were not random movements of emotion or imagination. They were divine recalibrations. Every moment of discomfort was a doorway. Every season of silence was a classroom. Every period of restlessness was heaven pulling you toward clarity. You have learned to hear God in ways you once overlooked. You have learned to choose peace over panic. You have learned to trust what your spirit knows, even when your mind does not understand. That kind of spiritual intelligence cannot be taught by the world. It can only be developed through surrender and obedience, and you have shown heaven that you are willing to walk that path, even when it feels unfamiliar or uncertain. I remember a time in my own journey when I felt like everything was shifting too fast. I worried I wasn't ready. I felt unqualified, overwhelmed, unsure. But slowly, through each moment of surrender, I began to realize that readiness is not a feeling, it is a posture. It is a willingness to say yes to God, even when the next step is unclear. And the moment I embraced that truth, everything began to align. Doors opened, clarity grew, provision appeared, not because I earned it, but because I was positioned for it. And chosen one, whether you realize it yet or not, you are now standing in that same position. Heaven has drawn you into alignment, and alignment is always followed by activation. One of the most significant changes happening in you right now is the way your spirit has begun to separate identity from achievement. You are no longer defining yourself by what you do, who approves of you, or what the world expects from you. You are beginning to understand that identity is something God reveals, not something you perform. This revelation is powerful because it frees you from the fear of failure. Failure is only frightening when your identity is attached to outcomes. But when your identity is rooted in divine truth, every outcome becomes guidance rather than judgment. Every detour becomes redirection. Every delay becomes preparation. Chosen one, you are entering a season where God will call you to operate from your true identity, the identity He placed within you before any earthly influence had the chance to shape you. You may notice a new confidence rising within you, not because you feel superior, but because you feel aligned. You may feel a new boldness, not because you are forcing strength, but because strength is now flowing naturally from the clarity God has built inside you. You may find yourself speaking differently, deciding differently, carrying yourself differently, not to impress others, but to honor the truth of who you are becoming. This is the fruit of spiritual growth. This is the evidence of divine transformation. Another profound shift happening within you is the way you are beginning to see purpose differently. Purpose is no longer a distant dream or a vague idea. It is becoming a daily awareness. It is becoming the compass that guides your choices. You are realizing that purpose is not a destination, it is a direction. It is the way you show up when no one is watching. It is the energy you bring into every room. It is the willingness to use your gift consistently, faithfully, even quietly. And now that you're seeing this with spiritual clarity, you are more equipped than ever to walk in it with courage. Anointed One. This final stage of your transition is about integration, integrating everything you've learned, everything you've released, everything God has rebuilt inside you. Integration is when revelation becomes lifestyle, when clarity becomes consistency, when awakening becomes embodiment, and you are ready for that embodiment. You are ready to live as the person heaven has been shaping you into, not in bursts of inspiration, but in sustained obedience. Not in moments of excitement, but in daily alignment. This is the true mark of transformation, when change is no longer something happening to you, but something flowing through you. Chosen One. Your spirit has risen, your vision has expanded, your identity has strengthened, your discernment has sharpened, your calling has awakened. And now, heaven is ready to guide you into the fullness of what has been prepared for you. Trust what God has done in you. Trust what He is revealing to you. Trust that every part of your journey, the breaking, the rebuilding, the awakening, has equipped you for the life you are about to step into. You are ready, you are aligned, you are chosen, chosen one. As we close this message, hear this with the full weight of heaven behind it. You are standing in your kairos moment. This is not ordinary time, this is appointed time. The shift you've been sensing, the pull in your spirit, the quiet instructions you've been receiving, they are not imagination. They are confirmation that God has already initiated the supernatural transfer prepared for your life. What was delayed is accelerating. What was heavy is lifting. What was hidden is being revealed. You are stepping into a season where obedience becomes access and alignment becomes abundance. Anointed One, may the peace of God settle over your mind, the boldness of purpose settle in your spirit, and the fire of clarity settle in your steps. You are not walking blindly, you are being guided. You are not hoping for breakthrough, you are rising into breakthrough. The same God who called you is the God who will fund you, sustain you, and carry you into the very assignment you were born to fulfill. So walk forward with reverence, with expectancy, with gratitude. Heaven's hand is on your life. Heaven's favor is on your path. Heaven's timing is unfolding around you even now. Stay aligned, stay available, stay faithful to the whisper in your spirit. And if this word resonated deep within you, Chosen One, declare it by commenting below, and connect with this sacred space by subscribing and sharing so this message reaches others, awakening in their purpose. Go in clarity, go in peace, go in power. Your divine season has begun.